Lisa and I welcome Sierra Sil to our podcast. Got a grumpy old man in your life? Change that. Okay, not that way. Sierra Sil Natural Mineral Joint Pain Relief with a money-back guarantee at Shoppers, London Drugs, and the best health food stores.
Head over to sierrasil.com, SIERRASIL.com. Use your code GF and get 10% off your purchase.
Welcome to episode 10 of Gracefully and Frankly. I'm Lisa Brandt.
I'm Erin Davis. So happy to have you here. So happy to be home. I mean, we did the best we could last week when I was in Maui and you were in sick bay, but it's good to be home. And we've got a great podcast for you today.
Yeah, we do. Do you think you have a superpower that allows you to feel what everyone's feeling in the room so you can deal with their feelings and ignore your own feelings, but feel their feelings and feeling?
I knew you were going to start. I was going to say, no. I could see you were going there and I couldn't stop it.
There was a juggernaut. It couldn't be stopped.
Okay, we are going to talk about that and just the most eye-opening piece on just stopping trying to make everybody happy in the room or on your vacation and all of that stuff. Talking about ashes, too. We all have some now, and we're not talking about that full ashtray out on the deck or the stuff in the fireplace. We're talking about the remains of our loved ones, and what do we do? What are you doing with them?
And taking your grandson to his first NHL game. You... corrupting grandparents, and what the experience was like and what the experience is like being with so many people in a confined space like that anymore. How does that feel?
Oh, it was awful in the concourse. We had our masks on, I'll tell you what. But while we were sitting, I should have had on a raincoat. I'll tell you why. And that's all I had as we thank Envy Pillow, the certified natural pillow infused with copper, antimicrobial and collagen boosting copper. But I started with it because of chronic stress related neck pain, and we sleep with the best and you can too. And that is Rob and Derek, but also Envy Pillow, right?
Yeah, we're still talking about the pillow. Okay.
Yeah, we are. And get 10% off using GF at envypillow.com. Well, I have to say it's wonderful to hear you sounding mostly better. You were so sick. And, of course, you get home and then your beloved cat Cuddles is sick, and now you've turned into nursemaid, both of you and Derek. It never ends, does it? Oh, my God.
We tag team on looking after the cat, and he's so smart. He knows we're coming, so we have to be really fast.
You know how people say when you're upset, oh, he's butt sore? Well, Cuddles is actually butt sore. Yeah. And that's all we're going to say about that. And you know what? Last week when we recorded our podcast, Lisa was going through it with Cuddles, trying to get him into the car for a vet appointment that you didn't even make because it was so traumatizing. And then you sat down and did the podcast sick. So kudos to you.
You know what's funny, Erin? That is radio training, right? I mean, don't say poop if you have a mouthful of it. And I was on the air in London, Ontario, when I found out my townhouse was on fire and I had to stay on the air. And everything from that point on, when I compared it to my townhouse being on fire, was pretty minor. And it's that thing that we do from radio. So you do it too, I'm sure.
Well, I did, and the strangest occasion, of course, and the worst was finding out in a hotel in the lobby during a show or about to begin a show in Jamaica in 2015 that Lauren had died in her sleep. But my go-to was to go back into that ballroom full of sleepy listeners and sit down at the table and do a show because I needed that anchor of reality. Radio has rescued us from so many things in our lives, and I don't think it's being too precious about it. When you sit in that chair, I said reality, but maybe it's taking you into a different sphere of reality, where you have to focus on something else, not on the townhouse on fire. Focus on what's in front of you and not tripping on the sidewalk,
That's right. And just get on with it. It's that you've said before that your mom and dad were like kind of get on with it, right?
Yeah.
And that's a quality I didn't grow up with. And radio gave me that to just, everybody's got stuff. Leave your stuff outside the door. unless it's really big, massive stuff.
Yeah.
And just carry on with it. So
Yeah.
thank you, radio.
Yeah. And it all goes back to that stoicism. I'm so glad you have introduced me to the Stoics and the messages therein, because it gives you a different sort of perspective. Lisa, she will not tell you that she is a spiritual person, but you are very wise. And she sent me this email right after you left from Hawaii when you and Anita went home. You had that debacle at Pearson, and everybody's having their own debacle, but you do have to listen to episode 9 to hear what it was about. And you sent me this email from somebody named Sarah Stockdale. Do you mind if I kind of paraphrase it here, Lisa?
Oh, please do.
Okay. She said, for a long time, I thought I had a superpower. I could read the temperature of a room and chameleon myself to fit the energy. I'm hyper aware of the emotions and needs of the people in the room. That man thinks we're being too loud. I'll turn down the music. That lady's annoyed with how much we're dancing. I'll tell everyone to chill. Looks like Rachel is mad. Did I say something? I'll check in on her. She says, and the reason that you sent this to me, Lisa, is because it resonated so strongly with you, and I forwarded it to so many people. She says, it always confused me that other people wouldn't notice these nuances of human life. They could float blissfully unaware of the feelings of everyone else, because to me, their needs feel so loud, so clear, and their problems so acute and for me to solve. And this is where you and I come in here. I thought I was just being polite and empathetic, trying to make sure everybody was happy and comfortable all the time. But they talked about this being a learned response. Where did you learn it, Lisa?
Well, I learned it in a home with an alcoholic father whose presence was never certain. You didn't know if he'd be there or not. And a very bitter, unhappy mother whose temperament changed from moment to moment. And with the benefit of adulthood, you look back and go, okay, you understand what's going on. But when you're a kid, it's like being in a fun house. Everything's moving and you're not sure what you can hang on to.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if my brother does it too, but I would read the room. How's dad feeling? What's mom up to? Is she happy? Is she sad? Just knowing what you're going to get when you get home, when you walk into a room. That's where I learned it when growing up. Mm-hmm. Where did you learn it?
Well, my dad was gone a lot. He was an officer in the armed forces, and he took all the long flights, I'm sure, because he had 4 daughters and a menopausal wife. So get the hell out of Dodge. And my mother dealt with what I didn't know at the time, and neither did she, depression and, trying to keep everything running. And so she had an unpredictable personality. And to this day, if somebody's unloading the dishwasher and I'm sitting down, I have to leap up because no, they shouldn't be doing it. I should be doing it. Why am I sitting on my butt? How can I be so lazy? Right? So these things echo. And it says, if you're nodding, welcome to the club. It's a stressful club and we should all get out of here as soon as possible. If you're constantly absorbing the feelings of your friends, sometimes even the feelings of complete strangers. We do that in grocery lines, right, Lisa? Mm. It's easy to forget you're actually responsible for how you feel. Is this my responsibility to fix it? 99% of the time, the answer is no.
Right.
She closes by saying, relax in situations, relax into them instead of monitoring them. It'll make our experiences so much richer, deeper, beautiful. And again, that piece is from Sarah Stockdale. It's so powerful. And I felt myself doing this when we were on vacation. And it was so wrong. Like I would say to you, is Anita having a good time? Is she all right? And wondering if Alan, who came after you left, Alan Bell, my dear friend from Markham, if he was getting to do all he wanted. And he'd say, relax, I'm a big boy. I'm going to go for walks. I'm going to do all this.
Yes. And that's the thing. It comes from a good place. But when we do that, it's infantilizing. It's basically saying to the other person, without saying it, you can't look after yourself, so I'm going to do this for you. And we've got to just take a step back and go, they're a big girl, they're a big boy. If they want something, they'll speak up, right?
Yes, and I'm the big girl who won't speak up. And I think that in that, I'm projecting, right? I'm not going to say, gee, we're all sitting here and I really, really wanted to go on that, say, bus trip to Lahaina. I didn't. Don't worry. I'm not being passive aggressive and telling you after the trip's done on a podcast. Okay. I wouldn't say, gee, guys, I really wish that we could go. I would kind of just wait and let everybody else decide because, in fact, you were my guests, right? So I sabotage my own good time. Like I would set an alarm so I'd be up with people in the morning. When you know how I feel about alarms, Lisa.
Yes.
I ran out one morning and you were sitting on the couch just having a lovely quiet time. And I was babbling because I wasn't awake yet, but I just felt I had to make conversation. Please help.
So here's the thing. I believe, and again, this is the stoic thing that I'm easing into, is that I believe we're responsible for ourselves. So if I don't speak up or if somebody else doesn't speak up and they miss out on something, that's not my problem. We are adults. So you can be guaranteed that if I'm somewhere and there's something I want to do, you're going to hear about it. So I really pushed Anita, for example, to go over to the beach. And I was like, I said, we can't not, I mean, you have to understand what the scenery was like and where we were. You didn't need a beach. But I said, I cannot go home and have somebody say to me, what is Maui sand like? Mm-hmm. And I don't have an answer.
Right.
So she thanked me, I don't know how many times later, because I said, I want to go do this. I'm going to go do this. Do you want to come do this with me? And we ended up doing it. That's where we saw the big turtles. That's where we got our butts soaked by the surf. And we felt the sand and it was like soft. I don't even know how to describe it. It was indescribable. It was amazing. And it's because I spoke up and said, I really want to do this. So I just give everybody else the benefit of the doubt, thinking if they want to, they'll speak up. I mean, I'm 60 years old, for goodness sake. If I don't speak up now, when?
Well, one of the things that Alan and I did after you left is he would walk to the beach, and it was about a 20, 25-minute walk every single day. He had a coffee shop in town where he'd get his bulletproof coffee every morning. And that, by the way, is coconut oil, unsalted butter, and coffee, and it's all mixed up.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It's high in fat, but it's a good fat, and it's for keto. So look it up if you want bulletproof coffee. So one of the things that Alan had in mind, I had suggested to him, why don't you bring your mom's ashes? Because his mom, Betty, passed about a year and a half ago, and she and Alan were inextricably linked. Talk about soulmates. And so he said, great idea. So he brought Betty's ashes. We were going to do them at one beach one day, and it started to rain. So finally, on our second last day, we walked to the beach that was, within view of the house. And the wind, that beautiful sand you spoke of, was pelting like pins on us because the wind was so strong. But he went and we played some music, and he threw some of Betty's ashes in, some of his dad's ashes in, and some of his sister's ashes in. And then now he's thinking of an idea that my sister Leslie brought. And you saw the beautiful glass egg that she had made that had ashes in it.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
It had swirls of blue and green. She wanted it to look like the ocean and Michael's beloved Hawaii. And also some ashes are in it. So Alan's thinking of doing that. And you know what? I think it's a great idea if you can turn the ashes into something that is beautiful. We have Lauren's in a big black and silver modern looking blackbird because we all love and loved the Beatles, and it's a beautiful piece. But the idea of making something, and we will post the name of where Leslie got this on our Gracefully and Frankly Facebook page as soon as I find it. It's such a great idea. Mm-hmm. We all have so many ashes, Lisa. Everybody's being cremated. What are we to do?
I know. My brother had our dad's ashes on a motorcycle trip, and he was taking them up in Alaska, and he crashed his bike. This was a few years ago, and he ended up having to be laid up and gone to the hospital and everything, and he's fine. But the ashes came home, and I said to him, what are you going to do? Oh, I don't know. So now there I am imitating my poor brother. So I had our moms, and I have a little bit of each of our mom and dads, and took them to Newfoundland last summer and spread most of them at both ends of the province. But I mean, I could have done a bunch of things with them. And you're not supposed to do that, of course, but people normally just turn their back and let you do it because they understand. But I still have little bits of them. Like, what's going to happen to that? I have no idea.
No, I don't know either. And one of my sisters, and you talk about the suck it up attitude that we were raised with, she was like, get rid of the ashes. You've got too many ashes. Get rid of the ashes. Can we just go back and listen to that sentence a little bit?
Right.
But a lot of people are having to decide what to do with ashes. I had a list of the provinces that are the most common, and it is about 3/4 of us here in BC and 2/3 as you head east, Alberta, Saskatchewan, you see a downtick in cremation, and then Ontario up to about 2/3 as well. But strangely, Prince Edward Island, the province that I think has the least amount of real estate, so to speak, has the lowest amount of cremation.
I wonder if that has to do with religion or something, if there's...
Yeah, there's a direct correlation that people talk about in this study that was done around the world. Now, Japan, which has very little real estate, it is at 99.97%. But again, that may, and I don't know, but that may tie in with religious views or a lack thereof. It's just like, okay, sorry, we don't have the room. You're going to have to decide what else to do. It's a hard decision. What are we supposed to do?
You can get them squished into a diamond. You can send them into space. You can do all sorts of things. All those things are expensive. I have a little slate urn with some of my dad's. It's just a symbol. I mean, do I know that's my dad's ashes in there? Well, I'm pretty sure. There's dad. And then mom is in a little bird, a little silver bird. And sometimes I put the bird on top of dad. And then she can sit there and squawk. And then other times I put her beside him. And, they would think that's funny.
I know they would.
I did promise my mom that I would take her to Newfoundland. And so that's why I did that. Although the last couple days before she died, she said, you don't really have to do that. And I said, I'm doing it. I'm going. So
there you go. And also, just one more thing to think about. Do we put in our wills what's supposed to happen to all the ashes we've accrued?
Yeah, I don't know. It depends whose hands are going to end up in, right? If somebody who understands the value and the meaning to them, or somebody who's just going to go dumpster, which is a horrible thought.
Yeah. All right, Lisa, time to lighten the heck up. The end of my vacation was an absolute dream. Not many people can say that. My friend Alan, who I've mentioned, his flight was supposed to leave at 4 p.m. and it left at 4 a.m. the next day because of that big Toronto snowstorm.
Oh.
Yeah, but thankfully he didn't spend all that time waiting at the airport in Vancouver because we had a condo. Rob and Colin, my husband and grandson, came over on the ferry from Victoria on Friday. We went out to dinner with some friends. Then Saturday was the big day, 4 p.m. puck drop-ish. For the Vancouver Canucks hosting, for the only time this year, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the whole stadium. Oh my gosh. Lisa, it was so funny because there were so many Leafs fans. There was a concerted effort on the part of the Canucks to really, stick it to Leafs fans. And it was funny. They had this clunky sounding piano track going. Dun, 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 dun. And the Vancouver fans would yell, Leafs suck. Dun, 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 dun. Leafs suck. So how does an 8-year-old who doesn't quite get the crudeness of people and what they could possibly mean to Leafs fans, he turns to me and he goes, pizza! Da, 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 pizza! So there you go.
That's awesome. So this was his first NHL game.
Absolutely. He's been insisting we go down and see the Junior B players just about every Friday night here in Saanich or North Saanich, where we did not win that huge lottery, by the way. Everybody's asking, if we're the ones who won the $55 million in North Saanich. No, we don't play. We don't win. Kind of like the Leafs on Saturday, Lisa. No play, no win.
Yeah, as a longtime Leaf fan, I'm sorry, but every time I hear a Leaf fan say, this year we're getting the cup, I think, oh, you delusional fool. But anyway, you got to root for something, right?
Yeah. We met a guy yesterday in a furniture store who said, yeah, my dad was so sick of the Canucks, he turned into a Leafs fan. And we went, what? That's like, I'm quitting smoking, so I think I'll try heroin.
Exactly.
Why? Why would you do that to yourself? We said, there are winning teams out there. And okay, I know. The Leafs are doing well. They just completely pizzaed on Saturday. They were horrific. The first period, pretty good. Second period, they were outscored 1-0. Third period, on a power play, on a Leafs power play, 2 goals by the Canucks.
Wow.
And this little boy went from being so excited. These were his Christmas present. These exorbitant tickets that were, sold from a second party or whatever, and just cost so stinking much to be 6 rows from the top of the building. Like, these were nosebleeds. Anyway, he was so excited. The whole experience was so wonderful. He met the mascot. He got an autograph from the mascot, whose name is Finn, an orca. And so at the end, I just kept watching him, and he's got his chin on the railing, and he's just watching, and he's sinking lower and lower. Well, the game's over. We stayed till the very end to see the 3 stars and everything. And as we're leaving, he turns to me, wraps his arms around my waist, and is sobbing into me. Oh, and other people going by in their Leafs jerseys were just like, yeah, buddy, we get it. Get ready for this for a lifetime.
Right. Now it begins. Yeah.
Why did we do this to the boy?
Well, it's tradition. It's tradition.
I know. And Rob longed for this, a grandchild to watch hockey games with. And, we've got a picture of Rob with Colin when he was not even a week old on Hockey Night in Canada. And it's just like, it's the dream. And so here we go. Here we go, Colin.
But as an experience, he must have loved it.
He completely did. And when I was recapping it to his parents, we were talking about the excitement and the vendors and buying a 50-50 ticket and being sure we were going to leave there with $500,000. But speaking of money spent, it reminded me why money spent at a sporting event is so risky. And I know that's part of the excitement. You go there to watch your team and to cheer them on regardless of the outcome. Yeah, sure. But if we had spent that money for Chris Martin and Coldplay, I know I would have left happy. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but I will add this to that. The last concert I saw that wasn't comedy music was Def Leppard, who I've wanted to see all my life and never got to. So I finally did. And they made me incredibly happy, but the woman on her chair dancing in front of me created a barrier for me and made me think of violence for the first time in a long time. And so, it's not always, I did leave happy, but I had to do an awful lot of self-talk, like, okay, she's not ruining it. You can still see around her. And I couldn't really. But, it's not always, it's other people that are the problem.
I know.
So what happened at the game?
Well, again, with the other people, we're, like I said, about 6 rows from the top. Just bad seating if you wanted to be close to the rink, but really good sight lines. I couldn't complain. We were really happy there. Then, about 10 minutes into the first period, Colin had gotten this beautiful certificate that they give you if it's your first time, and you fill it out and it's signed by the orca. And then he got 2 little trading cards kind of things, collectibles from the orca, one for him, one for his sister. I picked up a coloring book for Jane. I had put my purse and these things down on the floor because I didn't want them on my lap. There were no extra seats. I looked down and there is a sea of cola. Somebody right behind us has kicked over a full glass of whatever. My purse, which was nylon, it's just a light cheapie for travel. It was in this puddle. All of Colin's paper stuff soaked. He got Coke all over the sign that Colin had made and stuff. And of course, I'm looking around and I can't see who it was because what would I do anyway? Hey, you.
Right.
And then later on, the Leafs almost scored and I felt a spray of beer on the back of my hair.
Oh, no.
And it is just like, people, this is why we can't have a good time. And I know there are people who can just have a good time. Most of them drink. I don't. I am sober, and sometimes it's hard. It's really hard when you're around a bunch of people who don't really care.
Yeah.
They're there for a good time. Their good time meant getting their drink on before they went, and that's fine. I get it. Everybody wants to have fun, and I don't want to be Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the stadium
school marm.
Yeah. Anyway, had to go home and wash Colin's toque and the other things. It was just, and that smell of beer, there's nothing quite like it. We've both awakened to it. And I don't want to be complaining. I'm not complaining about my vacation. I'm not complaining about being able to take our grandson to a hockey game. It's just, Lisa, this is why I hate resorts and hotels and camping. It's the other people. It was not good. But gee, it was a good time. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That sounds like a Leaf fan to me.
Oh. Are you watching the Oscars this weekend?
I used to be huge into the Oscars. I've been to Oscar parties and used to enter all sorts of things to do with the Oscars and guess and try and see all the movies. And now I will go to YouTube probably and watch an opening monologue, right? And maybe see the highlights. I think it's from being forced for all those years to watch it that I just don't. What about you?
Oh, I used to stay up until midnight, real time, and then get up at 4 o'clock because I felt like if I missed something, then I wouldn't be able to talk about it. But you're right. It got to the point where there were so many people who were finding the moments and the clips and posting them that it was pretty much done for you. I'm going to be watching it because I loved, and I'm sure Rob isn't quite sure what he thought of it yet, but Everything Everywhere All at Once. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before.
Oh, it's like nothing you've ever seen before. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I watched it over Anita's shoulder on the way home on the plane and then said to Derek, after I was home, let's watch this movie. And I think we got half an hour into it and he said, I just can't. And I said, okay. I get it.
I will tell you the last half hour is the best. It's a mother-daughter connection thing and the cast is fantastic, but I like the audacity of nothing like this ever having happened before. Does it make it better? Does it make it more entertaining? No. And so you have the people who say, well, yeah, it's a spectacle, but what did you get out of it? I don't know. I got a lot out of it.
I got some good laughs out of it. I think Jamie Lee Curtis is amazing in it, and everybody else as well. But it's it's not one of those. How would you put it? It's an Oscar film. I think. I don't think it's a big blockbuster movie. It's an Oscar film.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely. I do urge you, if you're at all curious about Bollywood, see RRR. It won a Golden Globe for its score, and that surprised a lot of people because, of course, there were some really big names. But I've never seen a Bollywood movie. I can't believe I'm saying that. But this just had us laughing and gasping because it was so corny, but so amazing at the same time. These gorgeous men who are in any culture's film industry would be the Brad Pitt, George Clooney. They're gorgeous. They're pretty good actors and they dance. I can't say they sing because I'm sure it was dubbed, but they dance their tuckuses off and it's incredible. And it is very corny. Like I say, it's an action film, but it's a good story and it's just pure escapism. I would love for you to see RRR.
I made a bad call about that movie. I thought it was a pirate film. Arr.
Yeah, Hey, here's one for you, Lisa, as we're getting ready to put our clocks ahead this weekend.
Yeah.
How do spring flowers greet each other?
I don't know, Erin. How?
Hey, bud.
Oh, my goodness.
That's Colin's favorite joke right now. So there you go. 8-year-old humor. We got it all here for you, folks. And feedback, too. We're going to have to set something up here in coming episodes, Lisa, where we share some people's feedback. Like the one about the pineapples being upside down and stuff. A woman read something about what? A metal what?
Audrey wrote that she had heard that a metal star put on your house meant you're a swinger, but she'd never heard about pineapples. And I'm like, hold the phone, because when we lived out in the country, one of the things that I put on our lovely little house was a metal star because I thought it looked country and kind of cool. Well, I noticed that when the new owners bought it, we were out there for some reason not long after, the star was gone. And I just thought, oh, they didn't like the star. Well, maybe they thought we were swingers and they didn't want the signal out there. So Audrey wrote that on our Facebook page, Gracefully and Frankly. Thank you for that. That was something I did not consider.
You don't remember Bing Crosby? Or would you rather swing on a star?
Oh, jeez.
Every moonbeam's home in a jar.
Oh, jeez.
You were better off as you were. Okay. So that explains all those traveling salespeople.
Who knew?
Oh, not us. There's so much we don't know, and we're happy to show it every week on Gracefully and Frankly. That's our new motto. Oh, Lisa, it's so good to hear you're feeling better, and we wish that for Kitty Cuddles, too. Oh, and for Derek as well.
Thank you.
And if you don't mind, I've got a mountain of laundry to sort. So if you hear of a fire in our neighborhood, it's me just giving up.
Okay.
So be in touch, as Lisa mentioned, Gracefully and Frankly on Facebook. We are on Twitter as well, as long as Twitter's there. Weird things happening this week with Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we need to thank Envy Pillow as well for their sponsorship of this podcast. It comes to you for free because of our friends at Envy Pillow. And I got a wonderful email from someone this week who was so excited that her Envy Pillow has been shipped. And you can get a discount by putting in the code GF. You get 10% off.
That's right. And we also had a question on Twitter on, I think it was Monday. Somebody saying, does it help with neck pain? I know it's good for wrinkles. And I said, long before we were sponsors, I had chronic stress-related neck pain, and Envy Pillow changed that. So
yeah.
If you don't love it, send it back and they will clean it and donate it to someone who needs it, and you'll get your money back. So there, you can sleep easy with Envy Pillow. We do. And that's it for this week. Episode 10, Lisa. See you on 11.
And they said it wouldn't last. No, they didn't. Everybody said it would last.
They did. That's some high expectations to live up to. Thanks for stressing me out again.
Okay, sorry. I'm fine, really. Everything's fine.